And I have Adam. Is that Patrick on there as well?
I'm glad you're having trouble.
Yeah, this is actually
I can't wait.
Awesome. We do have a quorum and we are live, so we can start whenever you're ready. All right. Welcome everybody to the May 19th Environmental Advisory Board meeting. I will be chairing in place of Katie tonight because she was unable to join us. We'll begin with, I'll go ahead and call it to order at 6:04 p.m. And we'll begin with roll call. So Katie is absent. I am present. Patrick?
present.
Adam?
Present.
John?
Present.
Bill? Jason?
Here.
He is not present. And Greg?
Here.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you, everybody. The first agenda item are the minutes, which were sent out earlier today. Did you all have received them and have the opportunity to review them? If you did not, because it was sort of a tight time frame from when we got them until the meeting, and you would like to review them, then you are welcome to motion to postpone the motion to approve until the next meeting. Otherwise, if everybody feels good about them and had a chance to look them over, are there any comments or discussion items about them?
I move the minutes be approved.
Okay,
Second.
second, okay. All right, I am going to abstain. Let's see, Patrick.
Aye.
Okay, Adam,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
okay, and Greg.
Aye.
Right, motion carries. Okay, announcements.
Not much for announcements today, but I did want to introduce Liz Lofton, who's here with us this evening. She's one of our senior planners, and great to have you. Thanks.
Welcome. Okay, next up is committee updates, Tree Cap and Bee City.
Yes, all right. So we heard from Tree Cap, and topics that will be discussed at upcoming meetings include the success of Earth Fest and how to be more successful next year for the Tree Cap booth, a kudzu issue around trees in our parks in Apex, and the issue of the Bradford pear tree bounty in Apex as well. So those are three big topics that they're working on. For Bee City Committee, their work has continued in the pollinator garden at Apex Nature Park. An Apex Girl Scout troop has done several plantings now and are working to install native bee boxes, a bench, and educational signage. And then on June 23rd, Bee City will be showing a movie at the Haliculture Arts Center called My Garden of 8,000 Bees, with a panel discussion following. I believe that you can sign up for that through the Haliculture Arts Center, and that will be during Pollinator Week, which is June 20th through the 26th.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, thank you, Megan. Next up, UDO amendment work group updates. John or Adam, did you want to field that one? Or did you want me to talk about it and you can fill in?
I think you can do a good job at it.
Okay, so John and I have met twice now, just for an hour each time. And we are making some progress. We're starting off by sort of reorganizing the suggested UDO list into residential versus non-residential. Shelley Mayo is also working with us and she is providing some suggestions. So we may come back to the board with some items that we feel like should not be on that list at this time because of the town's ability to not enforce or implement them. So that's next up. We have another meeting scheduled in a few weeks to make a little bit more progress on that. Also, something else we talked about is how our list, is very short sentences and how that stuff gets translated into an enforceable condition. There's still a disconnect. So we're thinking of maybe developing a guide of like, okay, if the board makes this suggestion, this is what it might actually look like as a zoning condition, just so nobody is surprised and about what the final outcome was or the intent of the board by making that decision or that suggestion. So that's where we're at, more to come. So any questions? Don or Adam, do you have anything else you want to add?
I think you covered it pretty well. That's where we're at with it.
Yeah. I agree.
Could I ask a question? On your list, is there anything about tree protections? Do you recall? That's something that council has an interest in, is getting some guidance from our environmental advisory people about tree canopy and tree replacements and so forth.
Not specifically. So that's the kind of thing that we kind of want to solidify just because there are some sort of broad things. So we would like you to preserve canopy, but it's not a prescriptive kind of thing for that project or sort of a, well, we see you have your property is 70% canopy. We would like you to keep 40%. There's nothing quite as prescriptive as that. But that's certainly something we can work on and take into account.
We have, so I displayed the list here and A and B cover it a bit. So preserve tree canopy and prioritize medium to large, healthy, desirable species and planting trees as designed for efficiency. So it's a good start.
Are you all familiar with the group of trees for the triangle?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Any thoughts about how we might could work with them or partner with them? Or is that for another day? But I'm just curious.
I have lots of thoughts about that actually. Yeah, Trees for the Triangle is an excellent nonprofit organization working in our community. They helped fund entirely actually the Cary Tree Archive. And so they have approached us with interest of creating potentially an apex tree archive. So it's very beginning thoughts on that, of course, but we have started to have that conversation.
Good. I'd like to hear more when the time is right.
Okay, absolutely.
Is that a group that we might be interested in hearing from at some point?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Yeah, if you all, and at any time, if you all are interested in a particular group or a topic, we can set that up so we can schedule those presentations for you for any meeting. So yeah, I can work with them and see about getting them to give us a presentation.
Yeah, maybe on a light agenda.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more, when council is talking with developers about tree replacements, I was talking to a Sierra Club person a few weeks ago, and they mentioned Trees for the Triangle as a group that we might want to, partner with. And they thought that maybe a 2-to-1 replacement was better than a 1-to-1 replacement. So I would be interested in hearing more about that. Tree replacement conditions.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them.
Next up is our pre-application meeting for Car Space Apex.
Right. Have Chris joining us. Looks like he's on here in the queue. All right, there we go.
Hi, Chris. Can you hear me? like you might be muted.
Hey, Chris, welcome to the Environmental Advisory Board meeting. Can you hear us?
I can. Sorry, I just had to turn my microphone on there.
All right. Hi, Chris. I'm Suzanne Mason. I'm the vice chair of the Environmental Advisory Board tonight, but I'm running the meeting. If you could just take a few moments and give us an overview of your project, go through any of the zoning condition, the suggested zoning conditions that you have identified that you might be amenable to. I would appreciate that. And then the board will talk about your project and we'll have a question and answer time.
Sure, I'd love to. So my name's Chris Rakowski with TMTLA Associates. We're landscape architects and planners out of Durham. So we are taking this through rezoning to kind of make this fit better into the UDO in terms of under the self-storage category. So that's kind of why we're going through rezoning for this, since it's already kind of zoned for similar uses, but this is a kind of very unique concept that we've got going on here. So Car Space is a membership social club. It is co-working space, and it is also a car condo space. So there's three different things going on here. They've blended, the developers looking to blend three different concepts that they've seen work all right independently into one. So basically there will be members that will join and will have access to the co-working space, and there will be you have to have a membership in order to use co-working or to purchase a car condo. So the car condos are between 600 and 1,500 square feet, made for kind of storing high-end cars or whatever really kind of vehicles you're trying to put there. So basically it's tailored towards car events and car enthusiasts, giving them a place to kind of come together. So that's kind of the driving concept behind what we're trying to do here. And to kind of move into the way the building is going to look, this site is challenging. I think when we originally started, this was actually showing those three parcels in the back corner of Pinnacle Park or Pinnacle Center Drive, but it's actually only lots 4 and 5 that we're working on the rezoning for. So that's sorry.
Share your screen, or do we? I'm sorry about that, Chris. It's just
That's okay.
Have a visual on where the lots are in relation to what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I will pull up kind of the plat that was sent to me. Hopefully you are seeing this. Can you guys see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so this rezoning is actually for lots 4 and lots 5, totaling about 7 acres. Of this, kind of there's a lot going on. So overhead utilities coming through here. You have wetlands, jurisdictional streams on both sides, and then a town of Apex sewer easement along this side. So that leaves us, once we combine these two lots, with about 2 to 2.5 acres of developable area that we have to bring a driveway across underneath this, basically these power lines up to kind of a developable area over here. So hopefully that kind of clarifies what we're looking at. That's kind of what it looks like on IMAP. So the driveway will kind of come next to this SCM that is already installed and functioning, and back up to the site here. And this is kind of the area that we're looking to develop. And it's steep, and there's a lot of environmental concerns around the periphery of it.
Okay. All right. And so were there any of our recommended conditions that you identified that you might be amenable to?
Yeah, so we had highlighted a whole bunch of them that we were looking at. It's really hard to do at this stage. I'll say that much, to kind of, since we haven't fully engineered the site and we don't understand all the challenges in terms of how far we need to grade out, where we can optimize grading and reduce walls, and kind of try to make it the site disturb less of the existing tree canopy kind of around the other areas of the site. So yeah, I think we're certainly looking at trying to preserve as much existing canopy as there is, especially in areas that obviously we can't touch anything in any existing stream buffer or wetland. So that will already be preserved in perpetuity. And like I said, this is a 7-acre site, and we're developing about 2 acres of it in reality. So there's probably about 5 acres left over. Granted that there's still a huge overhead power line easement that's always cleared, and will be free of any canopy there, as well as the sewer easement. But other than that, we're really looking to preserve the rest of the site. We're happy to look at using more native species or exclusively native species as much as we can. I think, as you guys might know, it's difficult to predict what nursery stock will be available in year and a half, but we'll certainly push to go that direction, as well as kind of anything we can use that's pollinator friendly flora or native flora, and additional signage to kind of mark natural areas as we see fit. Lighting efficiency was another one that we had highlighted, and of course we'll use timers and smart lights and LED lights and all that stuff that will be we'll get there at some point, but I think we're happy to commit or just at least discuss committing to those as a part of this.
Okay. Questions? Thank you very much for that. Questions or comments from the board?
The only comment I do is it'd be just beneficial to see a site, even a preliminary site plan to look at, because you can, it is allowable to develop underneath the transmission lines. It's just Paper Duke is very particular about what is underneath of it. So like I said, without seeing a preliminary site plan, it's hard to make any additional recommendations outside of where we are.
Okay, yeah, that's understandable. I had a question. It appears from the plats that are on file with Wake County that there is a lot of area on your lots that's already designated as RCA. Do you intend to impact any of that, or what are your thoughts on that?
So this subdivision has gone through a couple different rezonings, and there's actually a master plan that dedicated where all the RCA area is for. I think there's a total of 6 lots. So kind of it pushed it to where all the environmental areas are. At this time, I don't think that we are impacting any of them. We're obviously we would hate to go through that process of having to revise those plats that already have RCI designated. So I don't think that we will be impacting any of the existing RCA areas, as far as we've gotten so far, because it's still preliminary in the planning stage, but we hope not to touch them.
Okay. All right, and so if you end up doing that, what would your plan be? Would it be to acquire off-site RCA somewhere, or what would you do?
Yeah, so I think that we would certainly look at lot 6, the one right next door, has more additional environmental areas, or we would probably look at replacement on our site itself.
Because that has already been designated, I would like to suggest the condition that there be a perhaps 2-to-1 replacement if any existing RCA is impacted, 2-to-1 per square foot. If you do end up impacting that.
Okay, do you know off the top of your head what it typically is under the UDO? Is that? I guess I'm asking if that's like a double. Basically, we're replacing double what we normally would have to, or is that par for the course?
I don't think there is a recommendation.
Okay.
One of the planners could, planning staff.
If a buffer were to be impacted, so like a perimeter buffer, not a stream buffer, there is a provision that it would have to be double But otherwise, there's nothing in the UDO that would be above what would be required for the UDO.
Yeah, 3 to 1 per square foot.
Okay, I think that's something we can look into, and I'll speak with planning towards working on a condition of that sort.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is that satisfactory? How that's worded?
Yes.
Okay.
Any of the board members online? Are there any other
Just
questions?
say if any of the RCA area, that was. If any of the area of the RCA is impacted,
Yeah, because it's already been designated for another purpose. So this would be sort of taking out what the town has already agreed to set aside.
Should that say currently designated RCA?
Yes. Thank you. All right. Any additional comments, or would anybody like to make a motion on this list?
I move that these recommendations be adopted for this project.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will vote aye. Patrick,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
Jason, and Greg.
Aye.
Right, motion carries. Thank you very much, Chris. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys being on here this evening. Have a nice.
Thank you. Okay. It's gonna be an epic, fast meeting. All right. Next,
Is there another,
no,
I thought that was it. Is there a way we can, when these applicants come in, that we're having a little bit more information than, like I said, yeah, we can make the recommendations of this, but, again, not knowing exactly where a driveway may be and how it's crossing the stream or, people on retaining walls, and obviously that's more and more sites now have more topo than ever, because that's what's kind of left out there. So it would be good to see more of a site plan where impacts were, retaining walls are used versus trying to grade out and carry the grade out further into more impacted areas.
I think this leads back into the predicament that keeps coming up through these
Yeah,
processes,
I
right?
brought it up before, and it's just, again, it's going to be very helpful for everybody to see that site plan.
Right, because I mean, some of them are more developed than others, and they, within their plans, and they have the site plans, and then the others are pretty barren, which is hard to control. So I know that staff is open to considering where the board kind of fits into the process of these rezonings. But I also know that there is a pros and cons list as well, so we can definitely explore this more so.
Even if it was a preliminary site plan, just,
Yeah.
something to take a look at.
We'll talk with planning staff and see if that would be possible to enforce.
We can't require a site plan with a rezoning, so that's the problem. Like even planning staff doesn't see a site plan with a rezoning. So that's the challenge. And then legally, they really can't show a site plan with their rezoning. And then they're stuck to that kind of like, it's tricky legally.
Legally, yeah. Okay.
So I would recommend maybe going like overboard in what you're suggesting and recommending, because, you know, they can always come off or not agree to them or, you know, bring them forward. So, but yeah, you do, I would agree, you have to use your imagination a lot of the time.
It's important that we hear this though, you know, and when it really is that difficult to make recommendations, so.
Although it could be like a situation where you have a steep grade like this, I wonder if we ought to add something to our suggestions, as if, you know, if we've got a grade is, you know, a certain slope that, you know, we have it set in there so that we have it terraced out.
Well, Planet already has that. Anything steeper than 3 to 1.
Is that already in there? Okay.
Anything steeper than 3 to 1 is that's different stabilization
Yes.
requirements to that. So
There's 2 to 1 and then 3 meters.
So, I obviously don't want to make it more burdensome on the applicant, but could we get sort of a different environmental features map? Like, you know, indicating, okay, here's 3 to 1 slopes, or here's
well, we
maybe
can.
different maps?
Well, you got your contour lines here, but I mean, it's again, it's going to be. You could ask them to provide that, but at the same time, their final grading plan could be a retaining wall here, and this thing almost be a tabletop.
Oh, gotcha.
Across the
I see,
whole.
like fill it in.
That's
and
right,
then-
yeah, so you would take the cut out the middle and place it on the outsides, and then bring your sides up, and then the thing almost turns into a tabletop. And in this situation here, with it being more of a commercial aspect, you're gonna have that modular slab style foundation to it for this, so there's gonna be bigger flat areas.
Mhm. Yeah, and then that is sort of, I would agree, hard to see if you don't have an applicant saying, well, here's where I kind of think my building is gonna be, or something like
Right, yeah.
that. Yeah. Great. Anybody have
Of course,
any?
I know that gets into more of the planning engineering side too, where you have your finished floor elevations on the slab, and then you have your grades for your retaining walls, top of the wall, all that kind of stuff. So, but I think it's probably something we maybe provide moving forward, just saying that, if to protect the buffers or protect whatever, we have to try to increase the retaining walls if possible to minimize any impact outside of any of the buffer areas or whatever it may be here.
Do you want to develop additional language we can add to our list, and maybe for next meeting, you could present that as a motion and we could add it to our list?
From a legal standpoint, can we, I don't know, I think I'd ask some questions. Let me think about how that would read just based off of what we have here on this one. This one here,
Is that this current one? Yeah.
that's the one we're just looking at here, yeah, so. And then, let me think about how these would
Okay.
maybe need to be read.
Okay.
I'm sure Shelley could help think through that too, if you want to provide suggestions, since she's a part of the UDO work group.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't know if we want, if this is very important, if we wanted to go ahead and sort of amend our list now versus wait for any suggestions that the work group might have.
Right, true. Yeah, we could do that anytime.
All right, any other open discussion item? I just want to say, Val and Megan, EarthFest was spectacular. Thank you so much for your hard work on that. For those of you who are unable to make it, it was a huge success.
That was the first one, correct? And the turnout was, yeah. Awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I feel like people were really interested in the dark sky topic. So that was a good one to talk about. And it was like simple. You could give them simple things that they could do every day. And I feel like there was a lot of interest in that.
Was that binder helpful then with the information?
Yeah, I read through it and I picked a few things. And then what I did is I just held people hostage. I said, if you listen to me, I will. Like, that's what I did.
They were really after the swag. That's all it was.
Great swag.
Yeah, yeah.
We had a lot of
We gotta
swag.
look into some more of it, because we went through the,
Like you and I.
Yeah.
that's hard, when you got a bunch of kids in line, they want to, you had to kind of pick out which ones you could tell, one maybe
Yeah.
hear about it versus ones that they want to smile and spend the
Oh, yeah, everyone loves a good meal. Yeah, we have budget for this next fiscal year for more swag, so we can definitely go through those options.
Okay, so yeah, we should maybe get that on an agenda down the road, because it did take us a little bit of time to figure out what we wanted. There was a lot of interest this time in the utensils. I feel like when we did Peak Fest, people were not that interested, but then for this event, for some reason, they were like, I want the utensils.
Yeah, a lot of people like the dog bowl as well.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's a more targeted audience. You know, Earth Fest was really targeting people who care about Earth and sustainability and fun. So, and the Peak Fest is more just generally, so.
Yeah,
Just a different audience that was reached perhaps.
yeah. We should maybe think about that when we think about what swag we're ordering. But thank you to all the members who were there and able to man the booth. And big thank you to John, who was there for setup and breakdown, as well as council member Stallings, who manned a shift as well. It was wonderful. So thank you, guys. Okay. Anybody have any other items that they would like to discuss?
I did want to just ask about the Mayor's Monarch Pledge work, because it's my understanding that I think the Bee City is incorporating that as well. Are there
Yes.
any updates on that? Does anybody know?
I haven't heard any updates from them. I know that each year, the mayor has an opportunity to renew it. And so we've done so now 2020, 2021, and now 2022. And the pollinator garden is an official monarch way station, which is great. So it supports, all cycles of the monarch butterfly. As far as planned next steps, I can inquire about that, but I haven't heard of anything yet as of now.
Tell me what the pledge is and what it is.
Yep, so it's similar to like a Bee City USA certification. So, there are things that you have to do, steps you have to take to certify a garden as a monarch way station. The monarch pledge is similar. I can't rattle off the top of my head every single task, but there's a strong number of tasks there that support the monarch butterfly's life cycle, the migration patterns, and so we implement that in Apex, and we become, a monarch pledge town. Pledging to make those actions to support the monarch butterfly.
And is that on town properties, or these are individuals within the town that are contributing?
That's a good question. Yeah, no, it is town property within our town parks, like for our pollinator garden is a good first step. So it will be interesting to see what steps we have taken as part of that pledge. So I believe that Bee City is managing that.
As there are some similarities. I think it's a program sponsored by the National Wildlife Federation, so you can get more information at their site.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And if you all are interested, we could ask for a presentation on that as well.
Plant milkweeds everywhere.
Yes, exactly. All the
Under
milkweed.
every power line, every place. Okay, thanks.
Like the Field of Dreams thing, build it and they'll come type thing. Because you put that there and all of a sudden monarchs appear. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it is truly amazing. Yeah. I'm happy. We want to keep them off the endangered species list. Right. Any other items? Okay, if not, is there a motion to dismiss?
I'll motion this.
Motion to adjourn, I guess. So we have Patrick who motioned to adjourn. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, thank you. All right, I will vote aye. Patrick, Adam,
Aye.
All right, John?
Aye.
Hey, Jason?
Aye.
All right, and Greg?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much for your attendance tonight.
Great.